In today's example of good playing condition, we aren't taking the instrument completely apart, chemical flushing it, disassembling all of the keywork, putting everything back together. Today's playing condition will be all about cleaning the horn as it sets, cleaning the pads as they set, leveling the pads, taking care of any kind of corks, key felt issues, anything like that. All about leveling the pads that we know that we've seen that aren't correct. So all of the procedures that we're going to do today revolve around a good playing condition that does not involve taking the instrument apart. I hope you enjoy. Howdy friends, welcome back to the House of Tone. My name is Wes Lee. I'm a professional band instrument repair technician. I started a YouTube channel to show what my life is like in the trades. Appreciate you stopping by my shop today. Yesterday into last night, we repaired a damaged tone hole on the Yanagisawa tenor sax. Today, we're going to do all the rest of the play condition work. First thing you do when you come in after you've worked on something long and been stressful and you were kind of hurrying at the end, the first thing you do is you check yesterday's work. Don't ever trust your tired self. Check it with fresh eyes. That's the first thing we're going to do today. Let's jump in. So here's our tenor. This is our work from yesterday. The work at the end of the day looks as good as the work at the beginning of the day. Everything looks like it's supposed to look. The light lines are straight. The flanges are straight. Everything's good. First thing we're going to do, we have to get the neck chem flushed. So we're going to pull the neck octave. All right, we'll let that cold soak. Let's go to work. So we're just going to immediately start with the upper stack, closing some things down. This is the high C key. We're having to look through the palm keys right now. High C looks okay. This B flat and A key don't close. The G key doesn't close the B flat, and the G key does not close. Let's turn the light off and zoom in. We've got some kind of material on the Bis B flat that we need to get off. It's cloth, but that's a problem. We need to clean all that mess off. C has got that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the palm keys. So inspecting our palm keys, palm D looks okay. Palm E is not quite rotted through, but it's real close, so that pad is going to get changed. Palm F looks kind of torn right there on this back side. Yeah, so we're probably just going to go ahead and replace that. Okay. This key has a lot of that same material buildup. So we're going to clean these tone holes off. Lysol. don't have to use anything fancy. Lysol kills germs, gets rid of mold, does all of the things. You can spray it directly on the horn if you can get to all of it. You can see it takes all the spit track out, cleans the top of the tone holes, which is what we want. Lysol doesn't harm lacquer of any kind. It doesn't harm nitrocellulose. It doesn't harm epoxies. It's safe on leather. It's safe on cloth, right? We use it on everything and all the surfaces. It truly cleans, which means that your customer is more happy because they open their instrument and they go, "Oh, you cleaned my horn." Yes, yes we did. And see, just by that, look how those tone holes went from green and crusted, matching. These are the pads that came off of the same green tone holes, and look how nice and clean they are now, the way they're supposed to be. Okay? So Lysol. Lysol is good for your horns. We swear by Lysol and Pledge in this shop. I don't use harsh chemicals. And just like that, the palm key area is rejuvenated and looks so nice, right? I use shooter's rests because I can put horns at different angles. They have different cuts. They're not expensive. You can buy them on different places where you get your pow needs. Lysol and a Q-tip. Going to go in and clean this garbage. See that? That's the garbage that was on the pad. We're going to clean all of that off the pad. So that's the first thing that we do is we clean all the junk off the pads. Anything that's visible. And then we'll go back with a leather treatment once this is dried. So let's see, kick this around here. There's some debris that's down on the body of the tone hole there. We'll get all that. And then off the side of this G key. Okay. And then put a little more on my microfiber. And because I like the way the rest of this looks, I'm just going to clean all this spittle and other stuff off the body tube. And I just think it makes it look nicer. Like you actually cared about the instrument. Okay. Do all that I can see. Let's clean up the palm keys and see if they're as bad as we condemn them to be. This one cleaned up pretty good. We're still going to replace that one. So on the Palm F, this is very supple leather. You see how when you drag across it, the leather is still nice and supple. This black is shrunken and very hard. I hope that comes across on the camera. It has a very deep pad seat up here, and it has a pretty light pad seat down here, which could mean that the key is possibly a little bent. The tone hole is not exactly level. It could indicate that the pad is shrinking on this side, like we've talked about. Leather dries up. It's not as supple down here, and it's pulling away. And so this is evidence of a pad seat that is going away and creating micro leaks down here. So I've talked about that before, but this is what it actually looks like. That's a good example right there. So this will get replaced as well. This is leather conditioner and cleaner. Now we're going to put this on these pads. Once we have them cleaned up, the same way you would do your baseball mitt or your shoes or anything like that. Clean and condition your leather. And you can see by the things that we did, look, the seats are still just as deep in the pads. But look how much better they look. There's no green. There's no junk on them. They don't stick. They don't have any noises. Everything is pop, 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 pop. Even though we still haven't leveled them yet. They're still not perfectly level where we want them, but everything is clean. That's what we're after. Okay? Got a few more minutes on our neck. Okay. So now we're down to it. We got a little bit of bouncy on this key after it closes this key. Old school of doing this was using a torch to heat, and you would use a pearl protector. Problem is, this felt. You would burn this felt. Then you have to replace the felt. Air torches. I use whatever. I like these tiny ones. I Velcro it to my shelf. I can put it down and Velcro it here if I need. The packability is what I like. For saxophone pads, I basically set to 350 degrees, so I'm not here too long. I want to warm the shellac a little bit. And then check, see? There you go. What I am checking for is that my pad seats all the way around. I see a spot where I missed. I'm using the lightest pressure. And I'm checking to see that both of these close at the same time. So now I'm pretty happy about that. So let's move on to the next one. For the B flat, for the Bis B flat, I actually push the bottom of the lever that's down, controlled by the F sharp key. See that? Closes a little bit faster in the back than the front. It's pretty good, but I've said it before, you have to go out of your way to not lie to yourself. Sorry. So we're just going to get it right there in the front, just a little bit. Yep. Now, let me put this back on the wall. Turn this off. Now you can see on this Bis B flat, I hope, how much deeper the pad seat is in the back than it is right here in the front. It's very shallow here, and it's very deep back here. So this key has been off, leaking right here for a long time. Does that come through? Mm-hmm. Great. So, turn this back on. That's really pretty happy. I'm right there. I want to bring that down some more. Okay. Just warm that shellac. Okay. The A, the Bis B flat, closing the top. C, the C is getting the primary closing when the A should be. So this is a back. Flip the saxophone around. This is a cork issue first. Here. So this is the bar for the C. The key foot for the A to Bis B flat. And looking from this angle, you can see how it closes C first with the lightest pressures. It's closing C first, and these are staying open. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit off of the back of that cork. I like to pre-bend my sandpaper so it will not be quite as unruly. I push my key closed with about the pressure that I want to see it at, and let it naturally take some of that sandpaper. So I'm not pushing it really hard. I'm okay that it's going to take a few strokes. And I check it after every pull. I'm watching to see how my keys are reacting. C closes. A closes good right there. And so what I'm looking at is the sponginess factor. So I have a little bit of bump on that B flat from the back. Okay, so I'm going to take care of that. But I'm just addressing my cork issue for the moment. I'm really pretty happy about that. Flip back around. Okay. Now we can actually address what's going on. A key is hitting on this side, which is before this side, which is causing the B flat, which we already know to be true, to close. So you can see it's closing here, not here, and it's preventing this from closing. Now, if you look up here at the C key, you can still see that that's hitting first. So we're not done shaving that cork, but now we're going to focus our attention on getting the A key set correctly. Okay. Now I am much happier about the A key. The B flat is still a little bouncy, and the C still is hitting momentarily before the A. Let's go back to the cork issue. A, C, looking pretty good. Now, we'll adjust for this B flat. And that's what we want to see. We want to see the A, the B flat, and the C. Now, when you move the touch piece for the A key, it is going to change the relationship of that key foot in the back. So now we have C closing just before the A and the bis B flat do. I'm actually going to give a little bit more to the bis B flat. Light flexes, right? Light flexes. Now, I'm not as concerned that the C is hitting first because I know that's just a sanding of the cork issue. What I'm wanting to see is that A and bis B flat are at the same rate, right? So I know that I have them in a line. Then I can change the key cork. So I'm putting a little bit of extra pressure to be able to check these. And I want to give a little bit more flex to that bis B flat. See there? Like that. Now, I don't know. When it starts popping, that's when you know you're on the right track. Okay? And we're getting there. Now we're going to address the key cork issue on the back again. Come back, make a couple more draws. You can get it so good with your sanding that you can start to use it as a feeler gauge to know where you're at. And I'm pretty happy about where that's at. Yep. So this is an instance where I'm actually going to use the torch because I want to affect all of the shellac, not just a specific spot. But for this G key, I actually want to reset this whole pad. And so for that, I want to heat all of the shellac. See there? See how much better that is? Mm-hmm. Now it's going to stay plastic in a moldable state for longer with a torch, with a butane torch, than it is with an air torch. You have a longer working time before it resets itself. There's a chance that it can shrink back. But you can hear that pop. Okay, I'm happy with that. So that fast, we've got the upper stack done. Very pleasing. Okay. G sharp. Right hand. You would really just kind of condemn the whole thing, right? Because all three of the stack keys are leaking. They're closing the F sharp. And if you took the touch piece, and then there's the bis B flat touch piece, the G sharp is not opening, the B flat is not opening. It's actually pretty good, okay? F sharp is getting closed. So, the overall is good. The cork under the F, E, and D is closing the F sharp long before they close. Your right hand, when playing a saxophone, your thumb is in the thumb hook, right? And you're pulling like this. So you're making a fist. It's very easy to grab harder and not even notice, because this is a natural movement for us. I always talk about when closing and checking closings, I don't use any opposable pressure. That's important to me. There are many tricks for adjusting things. Another one that I like to use when I'm working on one specific pad, especially on the lower stack, I know that this, if I release the spring for the F, it will fall when I drop the F sharp. See there? And you can see that's how big that leak is. Okay? That pad also does not look level to me, but I'm not even worried about that yet. Okay? The F key has, on the Yanagisawa, has the addition of this helper push down. And I'm actually going to back this off. I'll add it back later. But I don't want that to affect anything that I'm doing. So now, see, that felt is not engaged any kind of way. What we have is the F sharp to F. There was no change in the closing of that. We're going to remove the close guard. These are not straight Phillips heads. They are JIS. Don't use a regular Phillips head screwdriver. Use a JIS. Think about what you're working on. Now, we're going to sand on that foot cork. See how nothing hits in the back? Mm-hmm. That's another key indicator that it's a cork issue. When nothing hits. I'm going to make 3 or 4 draws through. And then let's flip it back around. Better, but still a long way to Bouncyville. Looking much better. Mm-hmm. Pushing the F sharp, watching the F. It's looking pretty good there. Let's flip it back around. Let's look at it from the front side. See who's lying to whom. Okay. Oh, that's getting pretty close in there now. All right, now on this side of the pad cup, the leather is hitting. This side of the pad cup, the leather is drawn up inside. All right, remember where we started? Now when we close the F sharp, nice. That's what we're after. Now I'm going to bring back So you know we have your compensator here. If you screw it down and then it raises your pad back up, you know you've gone too far, and just back it off just a touch. So there we go. Now to double check your work, re-engage the F spring, push the F key down, F is closed, F sharp is closed, everything is good. See that? That's ding, ding, ding. And we have pops. Next key, no pops, because we have the same issue on this E key. So now we do the same thing. We unhook the E key spring and we see how off this is. So we do the same thing. Gonna go sand the cork until we start seeing some signs of signs of closure, yes. Okay. So you can see in the back, this is where we're starting.
Oh, wow.
There's
That's really bad.
is not even close. When I see that it's not even close like that, I don't actually go to a heavier grit sandpaper. I will put more pressure on the keypad. So I'm getting a little bit of closure right there, but not where I want it to be. Okay, now we have closure all the way across the back, and I can see going up the sides that we have light. Just a little bit of light. It's not going to take much on this E key. Just a little bit. Can you see the pad seat better with the light on or with the light off?
On.
On? Okay. So what's interesting is as far off as this pad was, the pad seat in the front is so much deeper than that in the back. And that goes back to what I was talking about with pulling that grip. Got a little bit on this side to work. Yeah, almost there. The air torch is so convenient. It doesn't melt the pearls. It doesn't undo the glues. Whoever's making tens of dollars off that invention that was a good one. Okay. Getting pop music. Now we're going to do the same with the D key. Third verse, same as the first. I'm going to unhook. Not even close. Draw that through. guess my big old hand's in the way, isn't it? Getting close. Now, this potentially could change the F sharp. Can you guess why it would potentially change the F sharp?
Mommy?
It could potentially change the F sharp because you're not exerting as much pressure to close it. By not exerting all of the pressure to close because you have changed your cork relationship, all of these pads that we have looked at, they have all been back heavy, right? Every one of them. The back has hit before the front. If we were to, there's a good chance because we have eased up how much pressure the keys are putting to close the F sharp, it could potentially be closing in the back before it's closing in the front and will have to be adjusted. I don't know that yet. It's not appearing that way yet, but that is a regulation point that we cannot overlook. Okay? So we're hitting in the back with our D. Now we're going to flip around and check it from the front. Right? Hitting in the back, not in the front. Off that much. It's not off a lot, just a little bit. So let's heat this up and take it out. Now, we might get an easier viewing of the D key because look, I noticed this when I flipped the E flat. There's green and the E flat is not closing all the way. Can you see that? Does that show up? So we will either clean or we will replace the E flat pad. Let's get that out of there. C looks good. The E flat is pretty nasty. Okay, we will get there, but right now we are still focusing on our D. This time I'm putting my air torch heat in the center of the pad. I can visually see I have more exposure in the back than I do the front. And so I kind of want to just move the entire pad. So to do that, I want to jelly up a lot more of the shellac. If someone or a manufacturer put hot glue instead of shellac, then your melting temperatures, the pads would move much faster. That's how you can tell. And some manufacturers only put enough hot glue on to hold the pad in place. That is a thing. I'm going to use just a little, my piece of leather, just to help me get the pad to move where I want it to go. The last little, excuse me, got a little bit of a gap right there. There we go. T-key falls. That looks good. Okay. We're going to let that cool. Now we're going to look at this E flat. What the evidence tells us, a lot of buildup in a deep pad seat.
Is it gonna make it, Doctor?
See how this is still supple. It's leather. Okay. Leather cleaner, conditioner, and sealant. And while we're letting that dry in a little bit, let's take care of the tone hole because we have the matching gunk, see, on the tone hole, right? Now that gives me better access to all the green stuff. Over time, all the debris, the spit, everything, it will start to corrode away the brass. I've seen them where they're like, it looks like red rot or flux or something, like it's just it's all red, the corrosion around the E flat tone hole. Get all the green off. Everything feels good. There's no jaggedness to it. So we didn't put a file or a sand on that at all. It's still got its lacquer coating, which is a positive, right? So we got all this corrosion off. Now, let's just go ahead and put on tip. pad cleaned up really well. Hopefully we can save it. We're just going to go ahead and put it back on to see before we put the guard on. Okay, we're going to have to just turn our light on. And let's check it. Oh, that E flat's good. Easier to see now? Yep. That's good. I'm happy with that. Let's see. D. Our check on the D. It's cooled off now. The glue has re-hardened. And everything looks good. We're ready to hook the spring on that. Pull this back off, get the C key, put the guard back on. In this area, I'm going to try to get some more of this spittle off because look how nice my Lysol area is and look how nasty this is. And I just want this to, anywhere that I can kind of get my rag and my finger, that's what I want to do. I just want to kind of put a nice cleaning on that. None of my pads have that sticky sound. Everything's starting to pop again. This is good. C-spring. Now let's circle back to what I was talking about with that F sharp. Let's check it. Remember how I was saying there's a chance that we could change the relationship of that F sharp. It's right there. Can you see it? Just let me know when you can see.
Yes.
The F sharp is hitting in the back, but it's not hitting in the front. Because we lightened the pressure from these keys where they close like I want them to, it has opened the front of that. Now we have to address that. You can't overlook the details. Let me know when you're there.
Got it. Yep.
Got it? That was all it was. Just needed to be addressed a little bit. Go out of your way not to lie to yourself. It's important to me that things that I work on in my shop, when the person opens their instrument, it looks like it was cleaned. It looks like you took care of it. You know, this one was pretty clean, but even though it's pretty clean, it was still very dirty. Just lots of spittle. If you vacuum the case, if you wipe the horn down, if you clean on the pads and you open it, and it makes everybody just much happier. And things are expensive. You ought to look like you did something when you're done. Well, all right, everybody. That one came out great. Horn looked so good with such a basket case, but in the end, came out great. Client's going to be really thrilled with this one. They'll be here to pick it up soon. We're glad to see it. Thanks for coming by the shop today. I hope you got some tips and tricks and some old man ramblings out of what we were doing today. Worked out great. We really appreciate the support. This is Wes Lee signing out.